Welcome back, guys. Part 4 now of the Airfix Hellcat build, and I'm filming this literally a few minutes after part 3 was filmed. Part 3 is actually going up now, and at the moment I'm waiting for this to dry. I've actually moved that clamp onto that one and glued that main member in place. Now obviously we need to be careful that it doesn't twist and stuff when it's clamped, but it's crucial that it is clamped in place and it's all welded in solid, so that when we actually move the fuselage, it all moves with it. So while that's drying, I've been getting these parts off the sprue over the page. I can't do any of this yet until that's sorted. I'm going to try, as I said, to get this all in without actually having the cockpit fitted. It's going to be awkward. It may be a bit awkward getting that one to go into that hole. There's a hole in the bulkhead there. I may be able to just sort of file some off of that, and then it'll sort of slide along and just clip in. But I like to try and get everything in and paint it in one if I can, especially in this huge scale. So going over the page, we've got these two tanks which we've just done the seams on, and we've got another bulkhead here. We've got two supports for that tank, and then we've got this bridging piece here, and then we're going to put that in with that tank. Now my idea here is to not have this fitted into the fuselage, but to actually have this as part of the cockpit, so it's sort of sat there on the back like this as a sort of, you know, part of the cockpit that goes in, and then I can paint all this and weather it all together. This obviously won't be weathered as such, it won't be scratched or anything, but it will be, get some tonality and stuff. And what I've done, I've made up this little piece of channel here to make it look a bit more authentic, and what I'm going to do is glue that on the back of there like that, and then glue that on the back of there, and then when this goes on, it will give it some support at the top, so it won't be so easy to snap off. So that's going to be that. So I need to get on and get that done. We can get the Arrestor hook assembled. I have some questions, guys. I know there's going to be people out there that are experts on this subject, particularly the UK, on the Fleet Air Arm Hellcats. Now if we notice, version C is the Fleet Air Arm version, which is the British version. So what they're saying is all these internal parts on the American aircraft, or the French aircraft, or should I say the blue aircraft, everything is blue. All the internal, you know, the inside the wheel wells, everything, it's blue. Whereas on the British aircraft, it's all like a very, very pale sky colour. It may even be interior green, I don't know. But they're saying the cockpit is the same colour. So did the British use this plane, the Fleet Air Arm, did they use this aircraft and leave the cockpit in the American interior green colour? And the other thing I'd like to know is, would the British aircraft have had the US harnesses, or would we have fitted Sutton harnesses? If you can answer those questions, I'd be grateful, because I've just spoken to Antics. I'm going to go and get another kit now, and I'm going to build a Fleet Air Arm one as well. I remember seeing the one. I'm absolutely in love with this kit. I'm besotted by it. It is brilliant. I saw the Fleet Air Arm model at the Gloucester show back in May, and it was beautiful. It was all the camouflage and everything on it. But I prefer the look of the American blue with the gloss all toned down. So the only way I can satisfy myself is to build both. So what I think I'll do is I'll get another one, I'll build it as a Fleet Air Arm, and what I'll do is I'll do a fast build, because now I know what you don't and do need to do. So there'll be a Fleet Air Arm build up here, and there'll be this build. This build is sort of my first experience of this, that and the other, and fitting ejector pins and then discovering we didn't need to. The other build, I'm going to have it all closed up. I might even have wings folded, so I won't be worrying about doing any of this. I won't bother putting any of this in. There'll be no ejector pin marks done, and I will just show you which ejector pin marks actually need to be done in the cockpit, so you can kind of learn from me. So yeah, I would like to know, please, UK aircraft, did they have Sutton harnesses, and did they leave the interior cockpit the American colour green? Because all the other internals are all this, they're saying it's 90, which is matte beige green. Now it's approximately a sky colour. Now I'm not sure that's correct, it's more likely to be interior green surely, but you guys can tell me, and I know there's going to be people out there that know, because I know that England, the UK is full of people that know a lot about British aircraft, although I know this is American, but in British service. The other thing somebody said to me, thank you very much, they said, RB, do US harnesses in 124 scale? I thought, yes, I've got a stock, and here they are. Here's my stock of RB harnesses. So we've got Luftwaffe here, 32nd scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of those. Okay, so that's pretty cool. It was 8, wasn't it? Yeah, 8 of those. And then I've got these 124 Sutton QK harnesses, 1, 2, 3 of those. Yeah, all unused. And then I've got 32nd scale US seat belts. Great. Have I got any Americans 24th? No. So I'll have to get onto RB Productions and see if I can get some sent over. So there we go. So yeah, if you can answer those questions for me, I would be most grateful, and keep your eyes open for the new build. Ejector pin marks in here, which I've had to fill because this is very visible when you look up from underneath. What's nice on the engineering side, on this panel they've put the ejection pin marks on the top, so no need to deal with them because they'll be invisible. When you look up underneath, you won't see the top. And on this panel here, they've put the ejector pin marks on the front, which doesn't matter because when you look up underneath, you won't see the front, you'll only see the back of it. So thanks guys for that little engineering thought. If it was a mistake, then well done. So that's all off the sprue now. I'm waiting for that to dry. This seam here I'm happy with. I think I need to do a bit more work on it, but we'll see how we go with that. It needs a bit more sanding there, I think. And just a quick tip for you, what I sometimes do here with these seams, get a pencil, don't use a pen, use a pencil, and then you can lightly rub away, and if there is any low areas, they'll stick out like a sore thumb. You can see there we've got a low area in the middle, so I can just keep sanding away until that low area disappears. And then we know that that is going to remain seamless. The same on the other side. Got a frog in my throat this morning. There we go. So yeah, in a minute I'm going to be jumping in my van over to Antics, take the dog with me as well, and she likes going to the model shop, and get another one, and I think I'll crack on with it straight away. So yeah, it'd be quite an interesting video build for you guys because it'll be much faster than this one. There's some people, I mean, I've had some comments about I talk too much, which I really don't care about. I don't really see why you would comment on my videos that I talk too much. If you don't like it, turn it off. But basically I get people saying that they love to hear me waffling on. I get people that say they love to have me on in the background while they're modelling, and then I get people that say I talk too much. So yeah, like you say, it's difficult doing this. I'd hate to be a celebrity, it must be a nightmare. So there we go, that's that seam all done. So I'm happy with that. I suppose really it's the bottom that's more important than the top. Okay, so waiting for that Mr. Servicer to dry. So what I'll do now, I'll go on and get these parts off. So we've got E36 and 37. And E35, which is there. Oops. So get those sprue nibs off of there. Now I'm guessing that basically this this unit here holds the Arrestor hook and is invisible on the finished model. That's what I'm guessing. So that's going to go. Oh, I see, that just sits in like that, so that's going to go in there. and that just sits in that shape. So yeah, this is invisible other than the very back end, so we don't need to worry too much about the finish on the outside of that, although we want it nice at the bottom because we're going to see it through the tail wheel well. So that's not so important. Just give the seam a little sand in, make sure it's nice and flat. And then this little boy is going to require some cleanup. Let's get that cockpit out of the way, it's getting covered in sanding dust. And then I'm just going to get my knife and just run along. And then use a sanding stick just to, whoops, almost snap that off then. That's the beauty of this plastic being so soft. It's very, very forgiving. So we need to be very careful with sanding sticks, is when you're using them near the end, you sort of tend to do what I just did then. The seam removal is all important. And the fact that this one's going to be displayed with like everything open, I may well have this out. So that's going to basically go in there like that. That's weird, it doesn't actually fit in there. It's like the groove is too narrow. The groove is actually too narrow for that pin to go in. So I'm guessing the best thing to do is sand that. How wide is that groove? That groove is 1.95, so 2mm. And that is 2.25, so it's not going to go, is it? And that's 1.7, so what we should be able to do is just remove some material from here. And now that should fit. There we go. So if we put this side on as well, hold that together, and that will come out, and we've got a nice tight sliding fit on there, so it's not all floppy. So that's pretty cool. And that will come right out like that, so I'm tempted to build this and then paint it afterwards. Got some flash on there. Although I might just want to get some of that glossy blue onto here, just so that it's up inside it, as you'll be able to see up in there. But then once it's glued and everything, I don't know. I think I'll have a think about that and I'll come back. Right, I need a bit more advice, please, guys, because I know there's people out there that know these things. On the instructions here, they're telling us to paint the skin here in the glossy blue, yet these formers, they're saying paint interior green. Surely wouldn't all of this be interior green in here, and then that would be interior green as well? I'd love to know, please, guys. I really would. I understand the actual Arrestor hook and the end of this being glossy blue, because, or even like that area there, because it's visible from the outside. But surely they wouldn't have a blue skin and green formers. I'm sure that's not the way the aircraft would have been built. It would have been built and then painted. Surely it wouldn't be. They wouldn't have painted all the stringers and the skins blue and left them green, would they? Surely. But I've done the Arrestor hook now, and so that's done, and done the ends of them as well in this glossy blue. This is the actual C365. This is the Mr. Hobby Guns proper colour for this. What Humber will recommend is 15, which I don't have, but they're saying the equivalent is X3. Now X3 is royal blue, and you can see there what a massive difference there is in colour between those two. Well, I can show you on the pot here. It's still not completely stirred up, but yeah, you can see the massive difference in those two. So yeah, this is too bright, way too bright. So I would recommend, if you're doing one in the blue colour, get yourself a couple of bottles of this, because that is, you know, when you look at photographs of them, you can see that it's dead. It's just correct. And this stuff, it dries fairly quickly, but you have to be careful with handling it. It will fool you. You'll think it's dry, and then when you hold it, you'll put fingerprints in it. So it needs a good sort of, I don't know, 12, maybe 24 hours to dry thoroughly before you can start handling it, particularly when you come to start doing the large areas of the aircraft. Be very careful. So yeah, if somebody could tell me, I would love to know. Surely that would have been green in there, these formers being green as well. But anyway, okay, so I've done a bit now. Basically this bottle, if you remember, it's just like a solid lump of plastic. If you look back a couple of minutes, you'll see what it was like. So what I've done is I've got this little 3mm diameter ball-ended mill sort of thing, and just gone in and opened those holes up like that to make them a bit sort of deeper and give them a shadow effect. And then the end ones I've opened up with the drill, and then carved away the plastic, if you can see, to give it a proper look. So when we look up from underneath, what we'll see is a hole rather than just an indentation. I think carved away the tank and then dressed it all up with some Tamiya extra thin. So what we're going to basically see when we look up underneath is this kind of effect. So that's what you're going to see when you look up through that hole. So now it looks a bit more realistic than just a lump of plastic. So I've done that. I've also radiused off these holes to make them look a bit more authentic, because they would have been punched and then plunged, or punched, polished and plunged. So that would have been like a sheet of, I don't know, 18 gauge aluminium duralumin, and then punched through, and it gives it a flange, and it makes the panel extremely strong. It's almost like you know, I can't really call them now, but the panels that they carry on 4x4s and stuff to get them out of sticky situations. So put these two stiffeners on here as well, these two mounts on here as well, so let them go off. And then what we need to do now is attach all this together. So I'm going to basically remove the paint. Where's my skinny stick gone? Remove the paint from here, like so, and then put some glue on there. Then I'll put some more on this side to let it capillary in and let it do its work. And then I'm going to take the starboard fuselage half this time, because the other one still has that frame in it which is drying. So that's going in there. And then this one is going that way round into there, like so. For some reason it doesn't want to go forward, I don't know, there we go. So that's going to go in like that. So that bottom face there isn't flat, there's some flash on it, you can see there, so we have to cut that off. Just make sure that's all gone and all flat. That should go on there easier now. There we go. See guys, it's always worth checking for bits of flash and stuff. And then what I can do now is put some glue on here. And pull them together. I got a couple of clothes pegs on there, yeah, there we go. One there. One there. And then make sure it's all seated in nicely. There we go, they're sat in their grooves, doing their job. So now that glue can go off and hold them together in harmony forever. And then once that's all dry, I can put my little piece in the top. Now, have I cut it to the right length or not? It's got angles on it so that it fits nicely. Look at that. It's going to go in there like that. So, and that'll make all that a bit more rigid. But I'll put that in after that's set. And then this is actually going to slide in here and go onto there once it's painted. And that will sit on top of that cross member like that. And then when we look up through the hatch, as I say, underneath, you're going to see up in there, there's quite a bit of detail to see in there. So it'll be quite interesting to look through. So there we are. Right, I'm going to leave that to go off now. And I'm going to go and have a shower. And I'm going to go to Antics and get another one of these. So I'll see you in a few seconds. For you, a couple of hours for me. Just one more thing guys while I think of it. I did have some of the Gloss 15, which is the colour they're recommending for this plane. And there's the Guns equivalent. That's the Guns Gloss Sea Blue for the Hellcat. And you can see the difference there, which is quite astounding. So get yourself some of this. Right, moving forward. I've had a bit of an issue, and it's all to do with this bulkhead. I want to show you something. If I put this cockpit into the fuselage like this, dumpty dumpty dum, goes in that slot, fits in there lovely. Come along with the other side and just put the two fuselage halves together, and hey presto, it all goes together really, really nice. Okay, so there we go. No issue there at all. Just give it a little squeeze, it all goes together. Okay, so really, really good. Top comes in together, it pulls in, and then that's going to go on there. We'll have to be careful with our canopy fit on here because it's going to have to be, I'm not sure of the shape, because you could have it down or have it up or whatever. So we'll have to make sure the shape is correct on that. Yeah, that's not the issue. The issue comes when you start to fit this bulkhead. Now, or frame should I say. I made a schoolboy error, and for somebody who's been building models as long as I have, I was very stupid. I glued this to this, as you saw, okay, and then I stuck it in the fuselage, blah 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 blah, and I came along and I found that the fuselage halves won't go together. Now, I've bought a second kit. If you've watched my little Hellcat chat, which I'm putting up as we speak now, so this is going to be going up later today. If you've watched my little Hellcat chat, you'll know I've bought another kit. So this is another one of these. So the first thing I did to make this fit a bit nicer, if you look down on the bottom here, where this goes in, it kind of looks like this hump should carry on longer. I'm not sure if I'm getting you in the shot here, but it kind of looks like if there's a cutout in this, and it looks like it needs to go on further because it's kind of fouling. So what I've done is just literally get the knife and just take the corner of it off like so, okay, and then do the same on this side. Just so you don't get any fouling there, and if we need to, if you're going to have it all open and everything, then you need to put some filler in there, then so be it. But now you'll see that when it goes in, it's sort of not fouling anymore. I mean, you can see even now it's meeting it, even with all that material removed. So I'm just going to take a bit more off with a sanding stick. So I thought that would be it. I thought I'll do this and that will be it, sorted. So, but I'll show you when we come together to put the fuselage together. And make sure you get this the right way around. This recess, or just the ejection pin marks face forward. That's the best thing to do. The injection pin marks, the ejector pin marks, I mean. So there we go. So that goes together like that. Whoops, and it's popped out. That's a shame. Let's try again. And what it needs to do is go into that groove that's there. There we go. So it's sat in the groove now on both sides. And you can see that at the bottom I have got a massive gap. And I can't pull it together. Alright, because it's just so much too big. So what we need to do is first of all look how it fits in here. And when you actually come to put it in, it actually feels like it might be a little bit too thick. Well, this side faces forward, so I'm going to sand off all this detail here, and in so doing I'm going to thin this thing down. And this detail here is never going to be seen unless you're doing a cutaway model. This detail is invisible. So I can thin it down. And then I'm going to put a radius on the corners. Okay, so you think to yourself, right, that's good enough then. That's that done. This is quite a coarse sanding stick I'm using here, and I'm doing that for speed. So now it should go in better. It should sort of slot in there, and it sort of feels a bit more positive, and it's kind of staying there. So I come along with the fuselage halves, put them together. And that falls straight back out. Put it back in the groove and hold it in place with an extended finger. That's the great thing about these huge models, isn't it? I'm trying to do this on a 70-second scale. So I can come along now, put the fuselage, oh dear, there we go. So it's gone into that groove. Okay, and still, have to be careful of this aerial on the back as well. I still can't close the fuselage up properly. Okay, so I've got to come along and I'm going to remove material from the edge, but making sure I keep the angle. It's got an angle going this way. When you look at it like that, it's pointed towards you. So I'm keeping the angle on there. I'm just going to go around here and just sand away and sand away. And then we'll try again. So we'll push it in there, use our finger to hold it in place. Go. It's kind of quite a tight fit in that groove even after sanding some off. So you get the idea now. I'm sanding away material and we're getting there, but we're still not quite there yet. So this is one to be wary of. This antenna on the back of here is going to get snapped off. I know it is. I wish they'd made it as a separate part really. So I'm just going to keep sanding away. like so. And put it back in again. Hold it in place. We should be getting somewhere now. Okay, so we're getting there now. Starting to get it so we can put it together, but it's still quite tight in there. So what I'm going to do is take some more off the width. And then just go around and just take off the sharp corner. And on the front side I'll use a sponge because this will be visible if I'm building my model with the belly open. And all I'm doing is just taking the sharp edge off so that it sits in the groove a bit nicer. So now that could go back in there again. Hold it with a finger. And if you remember, a guy commented in, well, it was part 1, that he'd read on Facebook that a guy was having a problem getting the fuselage together. Well, here we go. And there you go. Perfect fit on the top, perfect fit on the bottom. So it is doable, but you just need to take your time and make sure you get it right. It's sharp corners, getting the angle correct and narrowing the whole thing down, and then thinning the whole thing down, that's going to give you that basically that fit. And I'm just going to take some more off the back of there, because if you notice it's still kind of locking together. There we go, that's better, it's not locking now. So there we are. So just remember to take those bits off the bottom, thin it down, round off the edges, and just basically take the whole size of it down so that it's smaller. So I've got 2 of these kits now. The other thing you can do is just, if you're having it all closed up and you're not going to be bothering putting the radios in and stuff, what you can do is just do this. And as they say in London, you could just go like that. Yeah. Just leave it out. Don't bother putting it at all. Leave it out, like they say in London or on EastEnders. Alright. In fact, I'm looking at it, maybe take a touch off of that bulkhead as well. Maybe. That'll just help you. Like, as I said all the way through, this has got like a wings feel to it, and I think maybe it's kind of because I got some paint on there. I don't know. So it's there are no tolerances. It's very tight tolerances. So you haven't got any room for bits and pieces like paint on there that are going to cause you issues. I mean, this is the good thing. You want to find all this out really before you start trying to get it all together. So that should fit in there better now. Just plonk that on top, like so. There we go, it's going together lovely now. Alright, so yeah, as I say, if you're not putting this detail in here and you're having it all closed up, just leave it out. Don't bother putting it in. Okay, so I think what we'll do is we'll call it a day there for part 4. It may be a short one, I'm sorry, but because I've put my video up telling people to look for part 4, I really need to get this one up now. So part 5 will follow on later today probably. And I'll get this in and show you how it all fits in there nicely with my little bit of plastic card and everything, and we'll get all this painted up. Alright, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon for part 5. I'm sorry this has been a bit of a mishmash, but this is the way it goes. When you do these builds totally blind, with no forethought of anything or even any rumours, then this is it really. I suppose I'm really being the rumour monger now. I'm the one who's starting it all off. I'm the one who's letting you all know what's good and bad about this, but that's the first major issue I've come across, and really it's nothing. But they must have come across it in Airfix when they built their samples, so I don't know, because it's such a huge bit to come off. I've taken lots off of there. It's about 1 millimetre you're taking off all in. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you all soon. Bye bye.